Hi, welcome back to Math Learning Groups. Now today we are going to look at how to draw a model for before and after problems. And so we have already gone through part 1, part 2, part 3 and part 4. So we are going to look at part 5. And the before and after model that we are going to do today is about difference unchanged. So we are going to look at the first two examples and you will see it's an age problem. Okay, so let's look at the first problem and let's see how we draw the model to solve this age problem. So Jack's mother is 45 years old now. She is 32 years older than Jack. So how old will Jack's mother be when she is 3 times as old as Jack? So whenever you have an age problem, it is a before and after problem. So what is unchanged? The age difference is unchanged. So we are going to draw the before model. So how do you draw the before model? You look at the first sentence, you can see the mother is 45 years old now. So you draw a rectangle and you put the 45 years inside. And she is going to be 32 years older than Jack. So you have a shorter rectangle for Jack and 32 years older. So that's how you draw the before model. And how old will Jack's mother be? So that will be the after. So you're going to have the after, the mother and the Jack. And the mother is going to be 3 times as old as Jack. So I'm going to draw 3 times. Okay, 3 times as old as Jack. That's too big already. Okay, so I need to extend my rectangle. Okay, my rectangle a little bit longer. So it will be something like this, okay? But it's a bit too long, but never mind. So the mother is now 3 times as old as Jack. So Jack is going to be 1 time. Okay, 1 time. So now you can see that in the after model, what happened to their rectangles? Their rectangles have become longer. So how old will Jack's mother be when she's going to be 3 times as old as Jack? So your question mark is over here. And your model is done. So now you can use the model to solve the problem without even looking at the question. Okay, so let's look at the model and how do we draw or how do we use the model to work out the steps. The boxes that you see in the after model, they are called units because they are the same, they are equal. So you can call them 3 units or 3 boxes and 1 box for John. So what is unchanged? The difference is unchanged, which is still 32 years older. That is 2 boxes. And 2 boxes, you can call it 2 units. Okay, so maybe I can just put 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit, and then this is also 1 unit. So your 2 units is 32, then your 1 unit will be 32 divided by 2, so your 1 unit is 16. Okay, so the whole idea of model drawing is to find 1 unit, and once you can find 1 unit, you can solve the problem already. So once you know 1 unit is 16, then the mother is going to be 3 units old, or 3 times as old as Jack. So 16 times 3, and the mother will be 48 years in the future. So you can see that once you have a good model, you can actually work out fast, right? Quite fast, without having to think so hard about how to solve. So let's look at another example, and which is another age-related problem. So Carrie is 7 years older than the sister. That is the age difference. 3 years ago, their total age was 43. So how old is Carrie now? Now, when you draw a model, everybody has different way of drawing. So my model is not the same as yours. So when you try to draw out this model, it will be different. But you are still using the method called model drawing. So how do we draw this model? Carrie is 7 years older than the sister, and that is the before. So Carrie older than the sister. Okay, sister, and so I'm going to put down 7 years older. 3 years ago. Okay, now the 3 years ago, I can't call it after. It doesn't sound correct to call it after. So I'm going to change the label a little bit so that it's more relevant. So instead of calling before and after, maybe let's call it now and future. Alright, I'm going to call it now and future. So, okay, let me just erase this little line. Okay, so now, let's call it now. How old is Carrie and how old are Carrie and the sister now? And the future. So what is the lesson here? Now the lesson here is you can be creative. You don't have to always stick to a certain label, right? Instead of calling before and after, you can call it now and future. So it's really up to you. So Carrie and the sister, right? 3 years ago. So what 3 years ago? Now and past. Okay, now and past. Okay, so not now and future, it's now and past. Okay, so wrong label. So now and past. Okay, so it means that 3 years ago, their total age was 43. So which means that their rectangles will become shorter. So let's draw their rectangle a little bit shorter. Okay, so something like that. Okay, maybe shorter than before, and the sister is also shorter than before. But what is still the same? The difference. The difference is still the same. Okay, got it? Right. So 3 years ago, their total age was 43. So this is their total age 3 years ago in the past. How old is Carrie now? And your question mark is over here. Got it? Right. So your model is done already. How do you know that your model is done? You have put all the numbers inside. You have label. You have put a question mark. So all the key information, all the key details are inside the model. And like what I mentioned, if you have drawn a good model, then you don't need to actually look at the question most of the time, right? Because everything is inside the model. Now, if you look at the past model or the past model, you can find how old is the sister and how old is Carrie. So you just cut away the 7, and then you will get 2 equal boxes, which is over here, or you can call it 2 units, right? So 2 units. Okay, let's put down 2 units. Okay, so your units. So what are exactly units? Units are boxes that are equal. Alright, they are identical, they are equal, you call them units. So you take 2 units equal to 43 minus 7, and you will get 36. And your 1 unit will be 36 and then divide by 2, so your 1 unit is 18. Okay, so once you can get 1 unit, you can actually solve the problem easily. So you just put 1 unit is 18. So Carrie must be how old in the past? 18 plus 7. Carrie must 18 plus 7. Okay, 18 plus 7. So let me just put the 7 inside the box. So 18 plus 7. Carrie must be 25 years old in the past. And how old is Carrie now? Which is 3 years later. So 3 years later, Carrie must be 25 plus 3. Carrie must be 28 years now. Alright, 3 years later. And that's how you solve. Okay, so do I need to find how old is the sister now? There's no need, because you got the answer already, but you can still find if you want. Alright, you can find the sister's age now. You can also find their total age now. You can do all this. Alright, but you don't need to find because you have gotten the answer. Okay, so now let's go to the next example. So what exactly do you see in these 2 questions? You can see that whenever there is an age problem, what is unchanged? The difference. The age difference is always unchanged. And basically what did I show you? I show you that to solve a problem, you learn to draw out the sentences. Alright, so when you draw the sentences, you don't think about how to solve. You actually draw out the sentence, alright? You focus more on how to draw, and then the entire model after you have finished, then you use the model to work out the steps. Okay, now the next one that we are going to look at is one group unchanged. So at a party, there was an equal number of adults and children. After 42 children left, there were 3 times as many adults as children in the end. So that tells you that it is a before and after. At first, in the end, before, after. So which means that in the end, there are 3 boxes of adults and 1 box of children. So how many adults were at the party? So every time you do a before and after problem, whether it's age-related problem or it's not, you should always think about what is unchanged. So there are 4 answers. The total unchanged, everything changes, 1 group unchanged, or the difference unchanged. So it's one of the 4 answers. So in this question, it's 1 group unchanged because you only have the children who left. Then how about the adults? No adults left. So the adults will still be the same. Okay, so let's draw the before. So before model, there was an equal number of adults and children. So the first sentence is very easy to draw. You draw 2 equal rectangles. Okay, and then that's your first sentence already. So after 42 children left, okay, now you can actually combine the model together as one. You can separate the model or you can put them together, like what I showed you in the last few lessons on model drawing. But if you combine them together, well, then what happens? Then it will be a little more messy, right? It will look a bit more cluttered. But if you separate the models, then it will become easier to see, but you have to do more drawing. So you decide whether you want to combine or whether you want to join or whether you want to split them. So I will show you how to combine them. So before and after. So the before is the red color, and after, right, after model. So how do you draw the after model? Now 42 children left. So I cut here, and this is your 42 children who have left. So which means that the after model, these are the remaining children. The blue color box is the after model, and the adults is still unchanged. So you draw I mean, it's still the same length, no change. Okay? Then there were 3 times as many adults as children. So which means that the adults has 3 boxes, or you can call it 3 units, and the children has 1 box or 1 unit. So how many adults were at the party, which is your question mark, and your model is done. Okay? So how do we continue with the model? Now, so you compare. You either plus them, or you either add or minus when you have model. Okay, whenever there's a model drawing, you either plus or minus. What do I mean? Like for example, there's no total. Now if there's no total, then you cannot add them together, right? So if you cannot plus, then what's the next thing to do? You minus. So can you find the difference? The difference in the model. And how do you actually do that? If you look carefully, what is the difference? You have 3 unit minus 1 unit, that will give you a difference of 2 unit. Right, difference. Okay, so that is how you get the difference of 2 unit. And then your 2 unit is equal to 42, and then your 1 unit will be 42, and then divide by 2, your 1 unit is 21. So once you get 1 unit is 21, you can solve the problem already. So adult has how many? 3 units, so 21 times 3. And how many adults are there at the party? You have 63 adults at the party. Okay, so that's how you draw the before and after model, and in this question, we combine them together. But you can also separate them, right? It's up to you. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, again, 1 group unchanged, but how do we know that? Let's read. Blanca had twice as many partners as Candice at first. At first, it means the before, right, at the beginning. So Blanca has 2 boxes and Candice has 1 box. After Blanca bought another 40 buttons, she had 7 times as many as Candice. So Blanca has now 7 boxes in the end, and Candice have only 1 box in the end. So how many buttons did Blanca have at first? So it's important that you read the question and know what kind of question it is. It is a before and after model. So what is unchanged? Blanca bought buttons, so she has more buttons. Candice did not buy any buttons, so Candice is unchanged. So 1 group unchanged, or you call it 1 person unchanged. Alright, so once again, before, let's label the before. So you can join, you can separate the 2 models, so you decide how you want to draw. So Blanca has 2 boxes. Okay, so I'm going to draw 2 boxes. Candice has 1 box. Okay, 1 box. Okay, I'm going to separate the model, right, so that you can also learn how to separate the model. So Blanca and Candice, and Blanca bought another 40. And now she had 7 times, or 7 boxes. Candice did not buy any, so she has 1 box in the end. So which model, which rectangle, or whose rectangle is easier to draw in the after model? The one that is unchanged, because all you have to do is just draw the same box, the same length. Alright, so the one that is easier to draw is the person who is unchanged. Then Blanca has 7 times, so you just draw 7 boxes. I don't think I got enough space, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, not so proportional. Okay, so let's try to make it a bit proportional. So when you draw model, you don't have to be perfect, but neither do you draw untidily. So you have to make sure that you draw your model that is neat, but you don't have to be perfect in your drawing. Just have to be neat so that you can understand what you are drawing. Alright, so after Blanca bought another 40 buttons, so where do you put that 40 more? You put that 40 more over here. Alright, 40 more. So how you want to put the 40 more is up to you, but you can put on the model. If there's any number that you can't put inside the model, then you don't put. So how many buttons did Blanca have at first? And your question mark will be over here. And you are done. Okay, finished. Right, so we can now look at the model and we can use it to solve already. So how do we do that? Now, if you compare Blanca in the before and the after, right? And if you look carefully, this is Blanca has 2 boxes at first, Candice has 1 box at first. Candice is unchanged, so it's still 1 box, 1 unit. Blanca will have 7 units in the end. So you compare Blanca in the before and the after. Blanca has 7 units minus 2 units at first. So Blanca must have bought 5 units more. So your 5 units must be 40. and your 1 unit must be 40, then divide by 5, so your 1 unit must be equal to 8, right? And once again, once you know what is 1 unit, you can find how many buttons did Blanca have at first, which is 2 unit, and you get 8 times 2, and you get 16. So Blanca must have 16 buttons at first. And that's how you draw. Alright, not a very hard problem. But the whole idea is to start model drawing at as early as you can. So if you have not been drawing model, you need to start to draw model, because why? When you go to primary 5 or even primary 6, you will need to continue to draw model. Of course, there are some questions that you will be able to draw model because it's maybe too hard to draw. Then there will be some other methods to help you to solve. But the most common method that everyone must think about is model drawing. Alright, so when you solve a problem and you look at the problem, and then you should be asking, can I draw the model? And if I cannot draw the model, then what else can I use? What other methods can you use? So this is how you do well in the exam. Alright, in the section C and also in the paper 2. Alright, so that's the end of my model drawing lesson. So, what's the homework? Now your homework is this. Okay, now so you can look at practice 1, right, in the last part of our lesson, which is the part 6, which is our final lesson on define after model. You can do all this. Okay, you can try to do all the practice problem. So you have practice 1, right? So you can pause when you are doing your work, you can pause the video and then look at the question and solve it on a piece of paper. And then practice 2, and then practice 3, and then practice 4. This is what I let my students do as well. So I will always go through the example, give them examples, and then after that they will have to apply what they learn onto the practice problem. Alright, so that's the homework, right? The homework for yourself. Okay, now, so if you enjoy the lesson or you feel the lessons are beneficial, okay, the lessons are useful, they are good, and you find that you can learn a lot, then do stay tuned, right? Do stay tuned to my YouTube channel, okay? And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, PSLE Math at MLGs. So when I'm free, I will post some videos, right, on model drawing. I will also post videos on heuristic lessons, or some heuristic lessons maybe. And I will also post videos on exam papers, on doing how to on paper 1, exam paper 1. Right, I will run through the whole paper 1, and then you can attempt to do the paper 1 first, and then you watch the video to check the answers and also to hear the explanation. So in my YouTube channel, what do? I will post my lesson videos. Alright, and then you can go there to learn, alright, to watch how to do certain topics. So there's a lot of lessons in there. Okay, so basically that's all for today. So stay tuned for the next lesson on model drawing, which is part 6. And then you will continue to go back to our heuristic lessons, which we have also started but haven't ended yet. So stay tuned to the model drawing lesson next week. Alright, so see you around next week.